In the previous video, we talked about the entrance of Mahatma Gandhi in Indian independence struggle, how he conducted role at Satyagraha and the reasons behind withdrawing the role at Satyagraha. In this video, we will talk about the Khilafat issue and how Mahatma Gandhi connected it with non-cooperation movement in order to launch a joint independence struggle of Hindu Muslims. In the First World War, the Ottoman Turkey was defeated and a harsh peace treaty was going to be imposed on the Ottoman Emperor, who was the spiritual head of the Islamic world known as Khalifa. In March 1919, a Khilafat committee was formed in Bombay to defend the Khalifa's temporal powers. At the Calcutta session of the Congress in September 1920, Mahatma Gandhi convinced other leaders of the need to start a non-cooperation movement in support of Khilafat as well as for Swaraj. According to Gandhiji, British rule was established in India with the cooperation of Indians and had survived only because of this cooperation. Therefore, if Indians refused to cooperate, British rule in India would collapse within a year and Swaraj would come. The non-cooperation movement should start with the surrender of titles that the government awarded and a boycott of civil services, army, police, courts and legislative councils, schools, and foreign goods. Through the summer of 1920, Mahatma Gandhi and Shaukat Ali toured extensively, mobilizing popular support for the movement. However, many within the Congress were not willing to boycott the council election scheduled for November 1920, and they feared that the movement might lead to popular violence. In the Congress session at Nagpur in December 1920, a compromise was worked out and the non-cooperation program was adopted. In January 1921, the non-cooperation Khilafat movement began. It started with middle-class participation in cities. Thousands of students left government-controlled schools and colleges, headmasters and teachers resigned, and lawyers gave up their legal practices. The council elections were boycotted in most provinces except Madras. Foreign goods were boycotted, liquor shops picketed, and foreign cloth burnt in huge bonfires. In many places, merchants and traders refused to trade in foreign goods or finance foreign trade, which increased the production of Indian textile mills and handlooms. The movement gradually slowed down because khadi cloth was often more expensive. Also, boycott of British institutions posed a problem since alternative Indian institutions were less in number. After talking about the non-cooperation movement in cities, we will see how it is spread in countryside. In Awadh, peasants had to do beggar and work at landlords' farms without any payment. Thus, the peasant movement demanded reduction of revenue, abolition of beggar, and social boycott of oppressive landlords. In 1921, the houses of talukdars and merchants were attacked, bazaars were looted, and grain hoards were taken over in many places. Local leaders told the peasants that Gandhiji had declared that no taxes were to be paid and land was to be redistributed among the poor. In forest regions, the government had closed large forest areas, preventing people from entering the forest to graze their cattle or to collect fuel wood and fruits. It affected the livelihood of tribals. Also, they felt that their traditional rights were being denied. Alluri Sitaram Raju led the guerrilla warfare in the Gudem hills of Andhra Pradesh. The hilly people revolted when the government began forcing them to contribute beggar for road building. The rebels attacked police stations, attempted to kill British officials, and carried on guerrilla warfare for achieving Swaraj. Raju was captured and executed in 1924, and over time became a folk hero. Under the Inland Immigration Act of 1859, plantation workers were not permitted to leave the tea garden without permission, and in fact they were rarely given such permission. For them, freedom meant the right to move freely in and out of the confined space in which they were enclosed. When they heard of the non-cooperation movement, thousands of workers defied the authorities, left the plantations, and headed home. They believed that Gandhi Raj was coming and everyone would be given land in their own villages. However, they never reached their destination as they were caught by the police and brutally beaten up. Thus, each group interrupted the term Swaraj in their own ways as per their need. That's all in this video. We will talk about civil disobedience movement in the next video.